Right on, writers, and welcome back to the Books by Adrian author platform. This is Typewriters Podcast, where we sort of debrief after Livestream Sunday with our guest of the week. In this case, we have the lovely Hailie Camarillo with us, and we're going to dive into a little bit more of the crafty side of things with her. So if you are new, make sure that you subscribe. It's very important that you do so because it makes me happy. So just do it. Like, comment, subscribe. You guys know the drill. Let's get into it. Miss Hailie Camarillo, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
This was so much fun. I hope you had fun on Livestream Sunday. It was a blast.
It was a lot of fun. It was a new experience for me.
And it flies by. It just goes by so quickly. Like
It does.
you think it's been 20 minutes and the whole hour's up already.
Yeah.
So on this podcast, we tend to go a little bit more on the craft side of things, how we actually do the things that we talk about doing. So I guess my first question comes from the side of you being more of a pantser than a plotter, from what it sounds like. It kind of like yin and yanging inside of you there. What was the timeline like for you in writing this first debut novel? And I know that you mentioned writing it one way and then rewriting it a completely different way. Factor all of that in there. Like, how long from idea to it's done and coming out?
Okay, so from idea to its release, it was about close to 6 years. Because my son, I started it just before my son was born, and he's 5. So so it'll be about almost 6 years when it comes down to it, from idea to fruition. So it was a long process, a lot of rewrites. But yeah, we're finally at a place that's good.
In that time, did you ever feel like pulled away from it to other books, other stories, other projects?
Absolutely. After I first finished it, it took me about a year to finish. And I started immediately going into editing, and the beginning of the book just wasn't working. And the way it got to the point where it didn't matter what I did, it didn't matter how I restarted the book, I hated it. It got to the point where I was like, I hate this book, I don't want to look at it anymore. And I ended up starting book 2. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna move on, because originally book 1 was Violet and Rape's book, and book 2 was Ollie's book. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to move on to Ollie. I know that I can work with her. I know that she's a lot easier to get into her head and figure her out. We're just going to go with Ollie. I got about 2/3 of the way into that book, and I had an idea for another book. I had a dream. It was super vivid. I woke up from it and I was like, I have to write this book. I have to. I wrote that book, and I think it was about a little less than a year. It was about 11 months. And I wrote that. I edited through it a couple times. I need to do a heavy edit on it, but that is the book that I will be releasing next September.
And is that part of this series, or it's a completely separate thing?
Different series, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's its own series now. It's not a standalone either.
Actually, so it is. Technically, it is a standalone. It has potential for a series, but the series would probably take place at least 10 years in the future.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah. I'm gonna kind of gauge how it goes with this one first before deciding whether or not to continue.
Yeah, because it's at a point where I can absolutely stop it and keep it as a standalone. But if people really wanted more of the characters, I have the source material that I could go forward with it. But at the moment, it's at a good stopping point. And so I'm kind of just let's just let it lie for right now and see what the readers want.
Yeah, just let it sit for a while, see what's going on with it. Nice. And it's funny because with mine, my story didn't start with a dream. It started with a mushroom trip, and then I was like, I have to write this thing down and like share it
Mhm.
with people, and so I put it into the context of a short story. I gave the trip that I wanted to share to a character, a fictional character, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna write a short story and put it up like on a blog or something.
Mhm.
And then that short story, you know how I mentioned that I had a character that didn't fit into anything. She showed up in this one. I was like, oh, there she is. Look at that. Like, it's perfect. It fits right in. So then I was like, maybe this is a novel, and I plotted it out like, oh yeah, sure as hell, it is a novel. And then I'm writing the novel, and halfway through, I'm like, this is a series. Like,
You're like, this is not just one.
it just keeps growing. And then like I plotted 3 books, and everybody's like, you should just keep it going, man. Like, you just an ongoing. You could do short stories. You could. I'm like, you're right. I could do like little short story collections in between. I can write stuff
Oh,
in post.
yes.
I'm out of control now. Yeah, so
It's a
it's
wormhole.
yeah, exactly. Just falling further and further into madness. Um, so with that in mind, then you could conceivably have 2 series going on at the same time.
I could, yes.
Are you thinking about that? About divvying up your time between the two, going back and forth? What's that future
I'm
look like?
kind of so that's the struggle that I've been having right now. Because a part of me is like, since it is a standalone, I could just, boom, release it, be done with it.
Yeah,
And just get it out into the world. Because it's a story that I absolutely really want to tell. I really want the world to be able to see that story. But at the same time, I don't know how much time I have to be able to juggle between if readers want a book 2 of that series.
right.
So I think that it would probably, what I'm planning on doing is I'm probably going to release book 2 this early spring, mid-spring-ish, probably April is when I'm looking at book 2 coming out. Hopefully, fingers crossed. If not, then by early summer. And then I might take a break to focus on the release of my fantasy Western romance. That one, I'm really set on having it come out in September because my mom, she passed away this January,
Oh,
and
my condolences.
and that was the only book of mine that she actually read. And her birthday is September 8th, and so to honor,
Oh,
her
yeah.
on her second heavenly birthday, I wanted to gift her that. So that, regardless of where I'm at in the series for The Witching Hour, I'm planning to release what will be called A Long Ride to Redemption.
A Long Ride to Redemption. Nice. Okay. Right on. That's it's such a daunting task to me to have more than one story going on in my head at once. It's I'm like you. I'm kind of long-winded as a writer in some ways. I can't write short things. Like I said, I started trying to write a short story. It became the prologue to a novel, to a series. And so like everything is just epic to me, and everybody's like, write a little character piece about a blah blah blah, and I'm like, sure, but it's going to take place in a world that has like thousands of years of history, and I have to write that first. So so it's bananas to me to have more than one going on, because it's just so much. My first one, this first book, is probably going to clock in around 180K
Okay.
word wise.
Wow.
And I'm trying to get it down, because I was, I'm trying to get it down. 160 was every, but it's probably going to be around the 180s.
Yeah.
And I know, even though I haven't begun writing it yet, I've started outlining. I know the second book is going to be even bigger. It's just, I don't know what to do about it.
Life and tricks, so
Yeah, I'm just hoping that I can get the timelines down, because it took me like 3 years to write this one. And the editing process is taking a lot longer than I thought that it would.
Yeah.
So to have an even bigger book take even longer to write and edit, and
Yeah. I feel like once you have the first one done, I feel like editing and working on the second one goes a lot easier.
I sure hope so.
So.
I sure hope so. All right. So Now, what about you and your lovely collection of animals? You mentioned how like all these cats showed up on your. You reminded me of my old neighborhood that we lived in before this one. It was just nothing but stray cats in that
Oh,
neighborhood, and of course the two or three like cat ladies that would feed them and keep
yes,
more coming, and every spring there would be a litter of kittens running around and nobody knew where they came from.
yes.
So remind me again, how many animals is it that you actually have, not counting the stray cats that are
Not
trying
counting the stray
they're
cats,
trying to join you?
the ones that are trying to come into my house. My
Yeah.
husband was leaving on a work trip, and he was like, "When I come back from the work trip, there better not be any cats in the house." I was like,
Yeah.
"I promise, I promise." um, but I have three dogs. Yes, three dogs. I have a husky Malamute. I have a border collie, and I have my little. He's right here next to me. He is a dachshund mixed with a Australian cattle dog.
All right. I don't know what a dachshund mixed with an Australian kettle dog looks like, but huskies and collies are both my favorites. So,
Yes,
but
the
I want to meet your fur babies immediately.
they're amazing, and yes, you absolutely should.
I look forward to it. That's fun. I both of my kids, both of my boys are allergic to dogs, and I'm
Oh,
like, of all the things to be allergic to, guys, like, come on, like,
right? Like,
man's
come on, couldn't it be cats?
ah, please. It would have been so easy to just be like, yeah, no cats,
Yeah, okay.
easy. I don't want them anyway. But dogs, man's best friend. Good
I
grief.
know.
Our writing partners.
Yes.
Do your dogs like write with you, as they say, like stay in the
So
room while you're writing?
my dachshund does. He is with me all the time. He is my shadow. But he hates everyone, which is so funny because like he wants nothing to do with anybody but me. So it's like the kids will come around and the kids bother him and he puts up with the kids. He absolutely does not like them, but he deals with them.
That's great.
So he's with me. My two bigger ones are outside most of the time until nighttime.
He just sounds very German to me, the Dachshund.
Oh, he is.
Yeah,
He's.
very.
I like to say that he has like the worst qualities of both a dachshund and an Australian cattle dog. Like none of the good qualities are there aside from he is so cute. Like he is adorable.
They always are. They
Yeah.
always are. um, right on. So now, what about not to take the spotlight off of you in any way, but your husband? He's also a writer. Has he been putting out novels? Is there anything that we can look for with
So
him?
he is currently, I mean, he has an epic fantasy series that he's working on. He's 5 books into it, but he has not done anything with that series for a little bit. He is the type of writer where like he gets like an idea a day, I swear. Like he has more ideas than he can actually
I
do.
hate those guys.
I know. I know. So he like it's so funny because literally every time I talk to him, like if he calls me after a work trip, he's like, I had another story idea. I'm like, no, you need to finish writing your series that you have. So he actually has a fantasy western that is it's like a paranormal fantasy western. It's very cool that I'm currently editing it for him, and he's hoping to have it done sometime within the next year. So that one will be really cool. And he's currently writing like a dystopian type of fantasy that he's currently working on that is also very fun.
Okay. And that reminded me of what I wanted to ask you on the other show, and I couldn't remember. Now I remembered. Editing. You also offer editing services
Yes,
through your website. Is that right? Yeah. Tell the
I'm
folks
a
at home
little
about
fiction
that.
editor. I just started doing it. But yeah, I do fiction editing. I do developmental, line editing, and proofreading. So yeah.
Nice, nice. All the things that I need done. I will be in contact.
Yes. I'm always looking for new clients.
And they can just reach out to you through the website. You have the whole thing set up right there.
Yeah, on my website, I actually have an editing section where you can go and you can see my prices. You can see what all I include. Yeah.
Nice, very nice. Okay, all right. Now, what else did I want to know before we call this a day? Let's see. I feel like there was something else I wanted to ask, and I just I wish I wrote things down. Um, okay, so the one that you're putting out in September in honor of your mom. Give us the title for that again.
Okay, so it's called A Long Ride to Redemption.
Okay, and you're self-publishing that one as well. I
Yes.
write that down. Long. What would you describe like genre wise? Like what?
So it would be, I would consider it a fantasy romance with Western elements.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
You guys like your westerns, huh?
Yes, we do.
Firefly fans?
No, I have not actually watched.
You should check it out. I think it would be right up your alley. Yeah, yeah. It's more sci-fi western, but
Okay,
the idea is there. Yeah, the idea is there where it's like this melding of like the old and the new, the magical and the non. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And there's a character on Firefly, this girl named River, who she might as well be like a fantasy like fairy character almost. You know what I mean? Like she just has like that kind of like ethereal quality to her, and just this like power, like all inside a teeny tiny little frame. It's fantastic. You gotta check it out. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, so was there anything else that we needed to cover before wrapping up today? I know it's been kind of a short one, but I feel like we just like rattled through everything.
I know.
Anything else that you needed to share with the people at home before?
I don't know. Putting me on the spot here.
No, I mean, I want to give you a chance to like, promote anything that if you have any events coming up, other appearances, anything like that.
I don't have any events or appearances. I'm just such a little baby author at this point that I don't have much going on. But yes, but I'm hoping to get my podcast back up. I know that I mentioned that in the live portion. So I'm hoping to get the podcast back up and running, and I'm hoping to get that going again because that was a lot of fun. And those, usually I put out a few of those a week.
Okay. Well, then the last two questions on my part then. Number one, TikTok.
Yes.
How is that kind of contributing? Do you, because I know when I when I went over and started my own account on TikTok, I was very surprised by how quickly the numbers kind of start racking up, and how much more interaction I'm getting from people over there versus say like Instagram, for example.
Yeah.
So how's your experience on TikTok been, and what are you learning about your writing that way?
I am learning, it's really interesting to learn what people like. I love that. That's something that has been so awesome to have like the ability to see, is what videos are doing good, what content my readers want to see. I mean, what content the viewers want to see, tropes that they want to see. That's been so helpful. And the community is amazing. I really love how quickly and like genuine some of the friendships I've made through it have been by meeting readers. It was awesome. I mean, I put out an art call like September 1st, and I mean end of August for September 1st, and I had just so many people who reached out via TikTok that it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you saw him in the chat. His name is Richard. He's always around, and he's vehemently against TikTok in general. The whole like China spying on us thing.
Wow.
And it's funny because anytime he or anyone says something along those lines, I always think about the whole reason why I got sucked into it in the first place, and that's stuff like when I first started seeing like a musician putting up a video of him just playing guitar and nothing else, just guitar. And then somebody would duet it and add in some drums. And then somebody else would duet it and add in the bass. And before you know it, there's a band that has never met and are all on different corners of the world. And they've created an original piece of music together over this like weird little app. And I was like, this is gold right here. This is what it's all about. Because it's like you say, the community, the way that the community comes together on there. So once I found book talk, as we call it, forget
Yeah,
it. It was nuts. I mean, this whole season is just full of you guys. I just put a bunch of TikTok people in here
that is
because
awesome.
it's the
Very
best.
cool. Yeah.
And my last question for you is tattoo related. Now
Yes.
I see you got a few. I won't like make you rattle through all of them. But what is like your favorite, or the one with a cool story, something you want to share, a tattoo you want to share?
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's so hard because all of mine have so much meaning. So I'll go with this one because this one's my most recent one. So it is a sunflower, which was my mom's favorite flower, and it says "I love you" right in there, and that's actually my mom's handwriting.
Oh, nice touch.
So
It almost looks like a petal like flying off of
yeah,
the
yeah.
sunflower.
So it's yeah, it's she's I have a part of her with me wherever I go. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I've also noticed that the hair changes a lot.
Yes, the hair absolutely changes a lot. Actually, my main character, Ollie, her hair is like this. And so I figured for release, I would do.
Marketing, nice.
Yeah, so I'm channeling my inner Ollie, is what I like to say. So,
Yeah, man. It's all about the marketing at the end of the day.
exactly.
Man. That's just gonna help out with that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with me on both of these shows. This has been fantastic. It's been a blast. I cannot wait for your book to come out. I want to read it immediately. I want to learn about Ghost and all his little furry friends. I'm excited. This is going to be awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. Thank you for being around. And you brought new. I already saw a new subscriber, I'm sure it's one of yours. So like,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you
No
very much.
problem.
Well, for everybody at home, thank you for joining us today. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're on iTunes or Spotify, leave me a 5-star review because that's what's going to help me more than anything else. You can get more from Miss Hailie Camarillo with the links down below. And look out for her book when it comes out. Make sure you pick it up. All right, y'all. Thank you very much. Right on, Writers. We out.
Thank you.